This is war, you guys, as the Mexican drug cartels are actually ordering their members to target the U.S. Border Patrol agents with kamikaze drones and other explosives, all in response to the crackdown at the southern border by the Trump administration. But stay tuned, you guys. Appreciate y'all hitting the like button. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. But first, let's talk about the very real threat of these Mexican cartels and how Trump, together with his border czar Tom Homan, are actually going to deal with it. Peace through strength, right? Well, according to Tom Homan, we're ready to take the fight to these cartels. Here, watch.
Tom, let's get right at this. There are reports that the cartels plan to attack Border Patrol agents with suicide drones. How are you going to fight that?
Well, look, I've said for a while that the cartels aren't going to take this lightly. When we secure the border, we're taking billions of dollars out of their pockets, right? Because they're making record amounts of money in alien smuggling, sex trafficking, women and children, and drugs. So they're not going to go away, quietly. They're going to fight this thing. So, we're going to take them on. Look, we got the military on the border now. Border Patrol agents are well aware of the threats. There will be violence, and it's something we're prepared to handle. But I warn you to the cartels: if they harm a Border Patrol agent, one of our soldiers, President Trump will not hesitate to take extreme action. I think President Trump will wipe them off the face of the earth, just like he did ISIS and the Caliphate. So I would think the cartels would pay attention. We have a strong president who's not going to take it.
This is exactly what the military should be doing. They don't have to fight other countries' wars in the Middle East. We've got to fight to settle right here at our nation's border, right, guys? President Trump also mentioned a very promising law that he's going to be using against these drug cartels. So it's called the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Check this out.
To expedite removals of the Trinidad Aragua group and the MS-13 and other savage gangs, I'll invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Did you know that? I had to go back that far. We couldn't find anything because modern day politicians, even sort of old, nobody had the courage of these original people. So we had to go back to 1798, and it gives you the power to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil, and you can get them out, and there's no problem. And at least you can't say that it hasn't been around for a while. That's something, right? And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility for parole.
So let me explain this real quick for you guys. So the act that he's describing, there's a law that allows for summary deportation of people from countries with which the United States is at war that have invaded the United States or have engaged in predatory incursions. They last used it during World War II as the legal authority for interning immigrants to Japanese, German, and Italian descent. So what President Trump could do in theory here is to declare a cartel as the de facto government for Mexican territory, then proclaim a migrant invasion perpetrated by the cartel government. You see how this works? And that just unlocks all sorts of possibilities for this administration. He could give himself turbocharged deportation authority, deploy soldiers and resources where he sees fit. Most importantly, he could quickly remove non-citizen criminals without getting bogged down by bureaucracy. Sure, there would be legal challenges, but the courts are now much more Trump-friendly than they were, say, 8 years ago. You know what I mean? And personally, I think that the Mexican drug cartels know this themselves. Why else are they ramping up violence at the border? According to an internal memo to the Border Patrol agents, Mexican cartel leaders have authorized the deployment of drones equipped with explosives to be used against U.S. Border Patrol agents and U.S. military personnel currently working along the border with Mexico. So they're telling all U.S. Border Patrol agents and DOD personnel working along the border to report any sightings of drones to their respective leadership staff and their EPT IOC. Man, let me tell you guys, if one cartel drone goes off, it's going to be a war. These are American lives that we're talking about, guys. No messing around here. In fact, I've even seen TikTok posts saying that Mexican drug cartels are telling illegal immigrants to spit and urinate on ICE agents and defecate on their vehicles. Other posts have even urged assassins to target border personnel. And hey, it's already starting. Just last week, Border Patrol agents received gunfire from cartel members in Mexico while patrolling in Fronton, Texas. And so basically, this is the cartel leaders realizing that a more proactive U.S. presence on the border, i.e. Trump-enforced border, could cut into their drug and human smuggling profits. So yeah, they recognize the president as a threat to their operations, and rightfully so. You heard what Tom Homan said. the president is going to wipe these cartels off the face of the earth. So yeah, it should be all hands on deck to our side too. U.S. Senator Mike Lee, he even suggested that the U.S. should greenlight private parties to target drug cartels for profit. He talked about authorizing private security firms or specially trained civilians to intercept cartel operations, particularly those involving drug shipments or human trafficking across the borders. Focus on disrupting supply lines, capturing high-value targets, or seizing assets like boats, vehicles, cash, gold, or equipment used in criminal activity. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. Lee suggested it would lower costs to American taxpayers since privateers would be paid a portion of what they capture and bring back to the US. I mean, why not, right? I definitely know some Americans who will be all too happy fighting these cartels and getting paid for it. So what do you guys think? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below if you guys are all in for strengthening our borders against these kamikaze drones and explosives. Now, I also recommend subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell for more updates like this one. So President Trump has a grand vision for the country and it extends to the world too. So if you want an idea of what he could possibly do for the Mexican territories these cartels are occupying right now, well, you could check out Trump's vision for the Gaza Strip during a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Here, watch this.
The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
Now, hearing this, it's kind of hard to believe that anyone would have a problem with what Trump says. But I guess liberal media doesn't really care about reporting the actual truth, because here's what he said exactly. Tell me if this makes sense to you guys. The United States will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it. We'll be responsible for dismantling all the dangerous, unexplored bombs and other weapons on the site. Level the site, get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing to the people of the area. Do a real job. Do something different. And you know he means it, because Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu even joined him from the press conference. In fact, Netanyahu is the first world leader to meet with the president at the White House under his second administration. Trump even said that he could see the U.S. in a long-term ownership position of the piece of land, which would likely bring stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe even the entire Middle East. Netanyahu commented how President Trump is taking it to a much higher level, and he thinks it's worth paying attention to this. I mean, it's certainly better than what the Gaza Strip has become. Trump described it as a symbol of death and destruction for so many decades and so bad for the people anywhere near it. Benjamin Netanyahu had nothing but good words to say about the president, saying how Trump punctures conventional thinking and cuts to the chase. Now, according to the Israeli Prime Minister, Trump sees things that others refuse to see. He says things that others refuse to say. And after the jaws drop, people kind of scratch their heads and they say, hey, you know, he's right. I mean, it makes sense, right? Definitely a good description of how President Trump solves America's problems too. And like Trump promised, we're going to achieve peace with strength. Just take a look at the Navy's Helios laser weapon. No video clip available at the moment, but I did find this other laser weapon that they demonstrated a while back. Check this out.
Operationally, it works just like a laser pointer. There's a chamber inside with special materials that release photons.
If you're looking at a boat coming in over the water, you can target exactly the engine and take out exactly the engine and not necessarily damage anything else. So, and that type of precision weapon work is something that you don't really get with conventional weapons because there tends to be more collateral damage.
It's useful against a variety of threats, surface or air. It's not a niche weapon system like some other weapons that we have, throughout the military, where it's only good against air contacts or it's only good against surface targets.
Again, just to be clear, that is a different laser weapon from the Helios laser in the photo, but you can definitely imagine like how they operate on the same level, right? And just imagine what kind of other tech that they may have that they're not allowed to share, you know what I mean? And this demo, according to the report, was to verify and validate the functionality, the performance, and the capability of the HEL with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance system against an unmanned aerial vehicle target. In short, basically the Navy just wanted to test out its new toy. They didn't provide all the details like where or when the laser was fired, but we do know that the Helios weapon, which uses a 60 kilowatt high energy laser that can engage targets at the speed of light, is an advanced directed energy system developed for the US by Lockheed Martin. It says here Helios obliterates targets, including drones, fast attack craft, and missiles, by melting or overheating them. They said it could even act as an optical dazzler in a bid to disrupt intelligence and reconnaissance sensors. So kind of like we used laser pointers to blind our friends back in the day, screw around with cats. Yeah, another comparison that they drew with this particular high-powered laser weapon from the UK, they call it Dragonfire, and they demonstrated it against aerial targets last year. Incredible images from that particular test too. It showed the laser shooting down a target in a fiery ball. And it's not just weapons that we have a lot of. We've got the manpower that we need at the border, thanks to President Trump. The commander-in-chief demanded Mexico to do something about the border or else face tariffs like they've never seen before. Shortly after Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum agreed to deploy 10,000 troops to the US-Mexico border in exchange for a 1-month delay of those Trump tariffs. Trump talked about the meeting with Sheinbaum. He said it was a very friendly conversation and that the 10,000 Mexican soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl and illegal migrants into our country. He also says that he looks forward to participating in further negotiations with President Sheinbaum as they attempt to achieve a deal between our two countries. So could we see Mexican territory soon under American control? I mean, they're doing it with Gaza, so why not, right? Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop a quick comment down below. Well, according to border czar Tom Homan, Trump is going to wipe these Mexican cartels off the face of the earth. And he's pretty serious too. Just recently, he announced his vision for the Gaza Strip during a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He said that the US will take over the Gaza Strip, level it, and rebuild the area. I mean, why not do the same thing to the territories that these Mexican cartels occupy, right? It definitely helps that the US Navy just demonstrated the firepower of its high-powered laser weapon that could obliterate warships and drones. They call it Helios. And yes, we got the photos to share with you guys. Not only that, but President Trump was able to get Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum to deploy 10,000 troops to the US-Mexico border in exchange for a 1-month delay of the threatened tariffs. That's definitely going to help with the war against the Mexican cartels.